Okay, hey, it's me, Adam, again, from Boston. So I'm in the Copley Square Hotel, right smack in the middle of Copley Square. Across is the West End, across the other way is the Fairmont, where all the elites stayed for the Boston Marathon. I got my Boston Strong bracelet on, along with my Boston 2018 shirt. A few of the things here I just wanted to share with you before I get started on a few-minute video. This is the Boston Marathon 2018 finisher medal. Pretty cool. This is the ones I really kind of enjoy seeing. So this is the Boston official Boston Marathon 2018 122nd running of the Boston Marathon jacket. You see, it's really nice jacket. It's pretty cool. Interesting colors right there. So that's a few of the things from the Boston. I'm going to be leaving just in a few minutes back to California, but wanted to give you guys just a brief review or overcap of what happened, overview of what happened the last few days. So came in on Saturday from California. I got here maybe about 6 o'clock in the evening. Got Uber right to my hotel. The Boston Marathon finish line is literally around the corner from where I'm at. Like literally right here. Walk out of my hotel, there's the finisher's line. And so which was a pretty cool place to be. That way when I got done, I didn't have to walk like a mile out like many others do, because it's fenced in and they walk you and walk you and walk you and walk you because the security is so tight here. It's amazing. It is something to see how it all comes together for the Boston Marathon. I'm sure they work on it all year long to make sure this goes out without a hitch, as we had maybe 5 years ago with the unfortunate incident, terrible incident that happened. So on Saturday, pretty cold, some snow flurries. On Sunday, we had some snow flurries throughout the day, probably 30, 31 degrees. They said it wasn't going to snow on Monday, the Boston Marathon, but it was going to rain all day. So woke up Sunday morning, had a great time, went to the expo, met a lot of great people, had an interview with Daniel Tapia, a great elite athlete. Saw my boy Fernando out here, another great elite athlete who will be running the London Marathon next Sunday. Also when I was interviewing Daniel, right before I got started with Daniel Tapia, I ran into my buddy Eric Aguilar from Correr Sin Frontera magazine, CSF, Running Without Borders. He was getting set to interview, which was right in front of me. Her name is Maide Perez from Mexico, who's got the national record in Mexico currently in the marathon, a 2:23 marathon, two-time Olympian. It was nice to see her. So Eric did a quick interview, some pictures with her, and as I sat down with Daniel right before we started the interview, Meb Keflezighi walks right out. I said, "Hey, Meb!" He turns around and just kind of... So a lot of the elite, all the elite athletes were staying right across the street from me, the Fairmont. So pretty cool. Interviewed Daniel Tapia. You can catch it on one of these videos here, or the video prior. Daniel Tapia, you talk about what a story. I mean, a great American story. Mother came from Mexico, was part of the 86-87 amnesty program, and got citizenship. Next thing you know it, she's a hard worker, worked hard, built a restaurant called Norma's Restaurant, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong in the last video, in the seaside area close to Monterey and in that area. If you're ever in that area, Norma's Restaurant, and that's the Tapias there. Anywho, woke up Monday morning, which was yesterday. I've got to make sure I get out of my hotel room here in a few minutes. And storming. I'm talking storming. Storming and raining. So before we even got to the bus loading, most of us were soaked. One of the best things I could have done, and I did do, was I brought an umbrella. And, excuse me, pretty cold out in Boston this morning. Brought an umbrella, pretty much a throwaway or collapsible umbrella. So I was, you know, it is what it is. I mean, it was what it was. Rain was coming, and so it kind of kept me somewhat warm. And I bought a couple of these kind of hand warmers, stick in your gloves, and it kind of helped a little bit. And went through puddles and puddles just before. Then we got in the buses in downtown Boston, just a few blocks from here, which was pretty cool. A great place to be here. Bust out to Hopkinton City, and you talk about storm, and that rain was coming in. And we got out there, mud everywhere. I mean, just to get to the porta potties, which was got 30,000 people. Mud, I mean, you're soaking in mud, water. It was crazy raining. Then I was going to be in Corral 2. That's my assigned corral. But I waited. You know, I kind of slept in, relaxed. I said, hey, there's no hurry. Why head out there and hang out for 2 hours in the cold and rain? I'd rather hang out in the next couple hours in my hotel room. Then I'll go out, which I did. But I got out there and went in Corral 3. Excuse me. Wave 3 as opposed to 2, which I was assigned to. Got us started, walked out there, started to roll. Felt good for maybe few miles felt good. All of a sudden, so you're talking about the rain was coming sideways. The wind, 20-25 mile headwinds, gust up to 30-40 miles an hour, which dropped the temperature at a chilly 29 to 31 degrees. By the way, I heard there was 900 people who opted not running the Boston Marathon because they said, hey, maybe they gave them a pass till next year. I don't know. They said it was too crazy rain for them. Anywho, got started. A few miles, felt pretty good. Just rolling. I started a slower pace for me and didn't know if I would feel better. I began to pick up the pace, maybe mile 4, mile 5. I forget where it was at, but all of a sudden, my legs began to cramp up. My thighs, just incredible cramps. I'm like, hey, what's going on? I don't know. Your mind in a marathon, knowing, okay, say it's you're 6 miles in, knowing you're cramping up, and knowing you have 20 miles to go, that'll kind of mess with your mind a little bit. Like, I don't know if I can do this. So those questions do arise many times, at least for me. I've done a lot of marathons. I don't know how many I've done. I think it's between 35 and 50. Why I don't know? Because I don't count them. I just do them. And honestly, most of the time, like, okay, you got the medal like this. I do look at these. Well, they're all pretty much the same. All the Bostons, just different date, happen to be the same. But any of the medals I've ever gotten, it's just basically a finisher, but you didn't win. Any of the finishers medals that I have gotten, I just get them and throw them in the shoebox. I honestly don't even know what they look like. 99% of the time, unless it's kind of weird looking medal, I don't know what they look like. I just get them, put them in my pocket, and then roll out to the next one. So that's why I really don't like, oh, you should know. No, I don't know. 35 to 50, I'd say. Anywho, many of those marathons, if not most, you begin like, you're not feeling the greatest. Every marathon begins to kind of mess with you a little bit. Physically, mentally, emotionally, see if you can do it. But yesterday's marathon did mess with me like, man, I don't know if I can do this. Another 20 miles with my legs cramping up, knowing I got these Newton Hills, got Heartbreak Hill, and in this rain. Anyways, I said, no, it's not in my playbook to opt out. Anywho, and not, I'll get into that in a minute. But I have something else I was going to say. But running, maybe mile, I don't know where it was at, probably. So for maybe 6, 7 miles, 5, 6, 7 miles, I don't even know where it was at, but I cramped up for about 10 more miles. To about mile 19, the cramps began to subside a little bit, and the funny thing was, I was on the Heartbreak Hill when it kind of went away a little bit, like, hey, I feel pretty good. So after that, I began to roll. I felt pretty good. I began to kind of mess with my time a little bit, kind of bring it down, because I was really going slow. Boom, I kept on going. I think and I felt great for about another 4 or 5 miles. So about mile 24-ish, I felt pretty good. Wave 23, 24, and all of a sudden it came back again. So, but I kind of powered through it. Mile 25, it began to slow, like, oh my gosh. But I said, I got another mile to do. I can do this. So, kept on going. And, of course, we're going around to Boylston Street. Boylston Street, I don't know, Bolston Street. And that was about a half-mile long maybe. And you see the finish line, it looks kind of far off, and it is kind of far off. But you just focus in, you power through, and then you get to the finish line. The rain was coming sideways and this way and that way. The wind was blowing. It was crazy. Boom, you got done. Wow, what an accomplishment. You're shivering because that temperature, as you get, when you stop, that's when then they cover you up. I'm like, you're talking about cold weather. Couldn't wait to get back to the hotel. Had to come in the shower for about 20, 25 minutes just to thaw out. Yeah, hot water, like, man, my face was red. My face kind of looked kind of beat up. Looking at myself, right? Looked kind of beat up. But, anywho, that was the Boston Marathon. The different miles, going to the different cities, 5, 6, 7 different cities. It was a great, here's what was great about it. The great thing was every marathon is an adventure in itself. Because you can't control the weather, the heat, the cold, the wind, the rain. You can't control the climate. All you can control is your effort. Sometimes you go slower, sometimes faster. I don't know. Sometimes like the cramps. I normally don't get those cramps. Don't know what happened. It's the way life is. Sometimes you do everything right, and sometimes things like that hit you. But end up with like about 20 minutes, half hour outside of what I wanted to do. I was, I didn't know what I was going to do until I got here. Then I said, okay, how I feel, how the weather is. Then I'll kind of like. So the weather was crazy. I felt pretty good. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to enjoy myself, which I did. I wasn't trying to go for no PR, personal record, or PB, personal best. I was out here to have a good time and enjoy the Boston Marathon, which I did. And it was quite the adventure just to go through that. I had never been in my life in that kind of climate for that duration of time in my entire life. So it would just kind of boost you up a little bit, kind of like, man, what you're capable of. When you think you can't do it, you just power through. All of a sudden, your body kind of comes together. Saw a couple accidents out there, like a wheelchair guy who ran over some other guy towards the end of the race. Kind of people falling out a little bit. I heard, I don't know how many elite athletes there were. Probably between 75 up to 75 elite athletes between the male and female. Maybe up to 100. But I heard 23 DNF did not finish. They bowed out. Even Galen Rupp said, I'm out. He didn't finish. Some of the elite Kenyans and Ethiopians bowed out. Like, what? There's no way. Elite Americans, I forget the names, went out. They didn't finish the marathon. Now, I'm not going to criticize them because I don't know why they did it. I mean, who knows? I'm sure, excuse me, I'm sorry. Got to get out of here in a minute. I'm sure they had their reasons. Maybe they were hurting. Oh, I know Sage Candidate from Colorado, who's sponsored by Hoka. I don't know where he got out of. He didn't finish either. But I know his blog, he said he had hypothermia. I mean, I don't know. So I can't criticize because I don't know. I mean, I don't think there may be some like, I'm out. The weather's too bad. I don't know. Everybody has their reasons, and I can't say any of them are illegitimate. It was a tough race, tough weather, tough conditions. And I'm just glad I finished and live to tell about it. So today I'm hurting for certain pretty good. My thighs are a little jacked up right now, but I feel pretty good. I feel a little tired. Not too bad though. I've been walking around the streets of Boston all morning. Got into the duck hop on, hop off duck tours. Went around Boston, amazing city. One thing I say about Boston, it's an ambitious city. That's one word that comes to me. Educated, ambitious, progressive, civil. Some of the words when I'm looking around Boston, like. Amazing city. So if you haven't made it out this way, you got to check it out. It's a pretty cool city right here by the waterfront. You got the Charleston River. It was a pretty talk about rich American history. It's Boston, baby. So anywho, I'm getting ready to get on out of here. Thank you, Boston, for putting on a great show. And by the way, I said something on my Instagram. Something about Boston. There are people walking around everywhere with these jackets, the Boston Marathon jacket. There are several people. I didn't walk around with it, but several people like with this around their neck today, a day after. The city of Boston shuts down for the Boston Marathon. This city is so welcoming to marathoners, probably the most welcoming city for a marathon in the entire world. This city, people, you're walking down the streets. Congratulations. Great job yesterday. Congratulations. You hear that from people who didn't even run it. I'm like, they just see you with this jacket on, and they're so happy you came to the city, so welcoming and inviting. The people are amazing here. I could say for the Boston Marathon, just amazing. Probably in general, I'm sure in general, I just don't come outside of Boston, but other than the marathon, but an amazing city. I had some good food here. I kind of loaded up a little bit. And let's see here. What else can I tell you? It's just another wonderful marathon, wonderful race. And believe me, I was glad to get that done yesterday. Especially when I didn't think I could. I said, you can do this, buddy. Power through, baby. Power through. Let's see here. The winners of the Boston Marathon was a Japanese dude. This was his fourth. He's not even. I don't know if he's even a professional runner. His fourth marathon this year, which is amazing in itself. Most people don't do that, believe me. He has a full-time job in Japan. This guy is an amazing human being. The winners took home, male and female, $150,000 apiece. Probably bonuses and all these different things, but 150 grand each. He went back to Japan already. Amazing dude. I mean, wow. My boy Daniel Tapia, I think he came in 16th place. I'm talking the world's best buddy, Daniel Tapia. He rocked it yesterday. He's right in there. A beautiful, beautiful finish for him. And the winner, female, is Desiree Davila Linden. She goes by Desiree Linden. She's Desiree Davila Linden. Mexican-American gal from Los Angeles, California. Won that race, baby. She is going to Desiree. They call her Desi or Des. She goes by. She's trained by the Hanson's Marathon group. The Brooks Distance Project out of Michigan by Keith and Kevin Hanson are her coaches. Desiree Linden, congrats on that. Well, you talk about a beast. I don't know how tall she is, but she's probably under about 5'2", 5'3", if not smaller. She is a beast, a lady beast. She came in second years ago. This close. Oh my God. Then she came in fourth a couple times in the past few years. Then she came in seventh. I was here on the 2014, the year at the bottom. She came in seventh. So she just kept on powering through. And guess what? And let me tell you, I got to shut up here. She had a stress fracture on her, is it femur or her leg back a few years? Basically a broken leg from the stress of the running. And guess what? She won the 122nd running of the Boston Marathon women's group. I think 2:39. Oh, congratulations, and what a wonderful thing. I think whenever I can't get it's amazing to me. Amazing. The winner of the male was 2:15. So these were the slowest winning times of the Boston Marathon in probably 30, 40 years. And Desiree Linden was the first female in like 35 years. American female. Born and raised, baby. United States, USA. Desiree Linden was the first woman to win it. American citizen in 35 years. So, Meb won it a few years ago. Desiree bringing those things back to the United States, baby. USA, baby. Not taking anything anybody else, but this is American soil, baby. Let's bring it back. And hey, congrats, of course, always to the Kenyans, to the Ethiopians, who were just animals out there, who were just like on it. Well, you better be on your game to beat them. And you know what? The one thing about the Kenyans and the Ethiopians and the African, they are some of the kindest, most humble people you would ever want to meet. I've met several of them. Just wonderful people, males and females. They don't. I mean, it's not like, oh, I won the thing. Look at me. No, they're like, hey, how are you doing? Really humble and sweet. They are just wonderful people, and it's just a pleasure to run against them. Not me. I'm running not with them. I'm just happy to be in the race, but just be running in, and just such beautiful people. Y'all have a great time. I got to get on my plane before I miss it. I got to get back to Cali, guys. See you later. Have fun. And remember, health and fitness, guys. Gratitude, appreciation. Take it over the top. Health and fitness. Remember, you work hard at your job, you're going to make a good living. But if you work hard on yourself, you're going to make a fortune. You're going to make a fortune. See you soon, guys.